Celebrity privilege is a conversation that we are having, and we're sort of tying it as well into political and power privilege and the abuse of it. Where do we draw that line? Trevor's refused to tell us about his banking experience. He's just hitting it over here. But let's get back to what we were discussing.
He probably has a loan in that bank, so he doesn't want to.
Okay, no problem.
Should mention, so they make you the face of that.
He doesn't want to.
When we were on that commercial break, a lot of conversation was happening. And Phyllis, I'll start with you. The tweet I was telling you about that I saw, that our politicians are in such a rush, like they're going to do something important.
Again, as we mentioned earlier, there's those privileges that probably have become protocol. I mean, just a way of life, simply because we are used to giving way to motorcades. But something very interesting that came up as we were discussing this is, as long as it's not in the law, should we be doing it, whether it's a favor or not? How are we also, as the fans, defining celebrities, and why are we giving so much leeway? However, I need to go back also to the systems when it comes to the judiciary, when it comes to the, to just government at large. There's what is in the law. So when we're talking about them speeding like they're going somewhere, that road they're speeding on, does it have a speed limit? Does it? Yes. Is it in the law? Yes. So why are you speeding? It's not just about being given way. Then you are wrong. And not just wrong. You're
breaking a law, a traffic
illegal.
law. Right.
So there's that blend. There's the societal expectations. But again, when we're dealing with the law, I will revert to failed systems, because that same road they're speeding on, there is a policeman trying to make way for them to go at 100 when there's a speed limit of 50.
And enough citizens of this country going to work so that we can pay their big salaries. Yeah. And even just to be a bit petty, do you guys know how many celebrities, and by celebrities I mean like political figures, who, as we talk about provisions that allow Mr. Provision, that allow them to enter, to do certain things, and they become, like unseen or unread laws. They enter restaurants and don't pay bills.
But have you realized that this conversation has actually moved away from the collectivity, the collective of celebs, and now we are focusing on politicians only? Somehow Anto has actually insulated. Why are we not talking about artists, for example? When everybody else is queuing to get into a club, artists are waived. When everybody else is being checked, and we know that some of your friends are criminals. When it comes
to clubs, for example,
as in impunity is everywhere.
I might be influencing for the club, which means that my presence there allows that club to heighten its status.
Same thing with the minister running to a cabinet meeting. For
Most
example, I work on Status Road. And I'll tell you, on the day when there is a cabinet meeting, you'll think those guys are rushing to a crime scene. Status Road, that area becomes chaotic. And you will know this day we had either an emergency meeting or a cabinet meeting.
But that
said,
one moment.
According to what I really want to get Anto is that we need to balance this.
Yeah.
Because Anto in his life, he has got a lot of privileges. But because now politicians are the easiest low-lying fruits that we can always beat when it comes to bad manners, we are leaving out artists. The other thing, we know artists who have beaten up children who have died. We know artists who have raped and run away with their issues. And then they come and then wanaomba msamaha. The rest of us, if you are caught looking in a manner likely to suggest that you wanted to do something, you will be beaten, first of all, in the court of public opinion, seriously. But then we have come around and we think the political circle is the evil amongst ourselves, when we are evil at different levels. Even in school, are we...
I keep because I have a question for you. Because I have a question for you so that you can answer this. But first I'll revert to the comparisons you were making. For the cabinet, and for them rushing, trust me, more often than not, is because they're late.
That's already bad manners. We are not justifying it's bad manners.
But for this one, for the club, it's not about being late. It's about the fact that you're there for a job.
They're also going for a job.
No, but they're not late. They're not late. I don't know if that gets... They're not late. No,
we want a balanced
I'm still getting to you. Don't be too happy yet. Don't be too happy yet. Do not be too happy yet. As he said, now let's get back to now the artists. When we talk about like bad manners, the rape allegations, and how these issues are addressed. But again, the way you stand up for your own, are you able to call out on these vices? And more specifically, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Like in the recent past, there was the DK Kwenye Beats and, you know, situation. What is your response to that? And, you know, there's not that just example. I know it gets broader with many other scenarios. What's your response to that?
For me, when it comes to artists behaving badly, number one, improper, not right, should be punished definitely for every wrong that they do. Because for even a small petty chicken, you know, thief, he'll be punished completely by the law. So for any artist who inappropriately, you know, has any acts with an upcoming artist, a fan, they should be punished. The biggest issue that I have personally has to be with the people again. I keep insisting that let me put myself in the scenario, they allow us to get away with certain things. And let me also explain. If I'm seated here and, for example, I knocked someone dead 3 months ago when I was driving, and I'm seated right here in this interview, talking about things, my new music video and everything, I probably went to speak to the family, paid them off, probably paid off some judge, you never know. Again, we allow ourselves to get away with these things. And when you see people of high stature getting away with stealing billions, you really, really think that me hitting someone on the road is going to be a big issue in a court of public opinion? I can get away with such stuff. So I keep insisting, culturally, cultural assessment on ourselves. We have allowed these things to happen so much that when even some things shouldn't be privilege, like getting away with wrongdoings, become privilege. Because why? You know, niju munamwanika sana. But
so is it a state of the people encouraging it, or is it a state of helplessness?
Because I'm thinking, allowing it to go too far.
Even if I take Anto to the corridors of justice, he will still get away.
Especially
anyway.
if it's the Jew. How far is far? But then, Trevor, even as we speak about this debate will not go down well. When we look at privileges, we also need to look at responsibilities. Again, the people whom we think have got a lot of privileges have got a lot of responsibilities. Number one is actually celebrities, and anyone who has got an iota or an hour of...
Hold that thought on responsibility. We'll come to you in just a bit. We have a caller online, Elvis from Nyamira. Elvis, good morning. Elvis?
Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
We're very good, sir. Go ahead with your comment or question.
Yeah, the conversation going on, I think, is very good for this country.
Yes.
But I also wanted to say something.
Yeah.
That the community, the society that you are living in is rotten from top to bottom.
Okay.
As much as we may be blaming politicians and celebrities.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Elvis.
Okay, we seem to have
Elvis
lost
from
him.
Nyamira, yeah. But he was getting to the point, almost supporting what Anto was saying, that the society is rotten from the top to the bottom. But then again, there's a ripple effect of this, Arnold, because when the children who are coming up see that celebrities have privileges, then they end up resorting to doing everything possible to be like the person they see, regardless of what that person stands for.
That's why I said that human beings reason and think in stories. And in every story you have read since your childhood, there is always a villain and there is always a hero. So today, in the 21st century, our heroes are quote-unquote dubbed celebrities. And I said celebrities have got a purpose in society when we talk about the framework of humankind. By the way, the only difference between us human beings and other animals is that we are storytelling animals. And that is the place of the celebrity. That is the place of the celebrity, because they talk about the possibilities. They represent what is possible, the highest we can go, the aspirations and where we want to go. So when everyone, that is why society in a way, they complain but they will still let you pass. You did not come up with the system where we treat kings and people with influence differently. We didn't come up with it. It has been around for quite a while. So when children come up and the kind of role models we have, the heroes we have, Now, we call them celebrities. The heroes we have are people who are behaving badly and they get away with everything. What stops me from being like that? That's why I really wanted us to be balanced and say there's bad manners, whether it is privilege given to you. And I gave you an example of when I went to the US for the first time. I was a government employee at that particular time, and I went on a diplomatic visa. I didn't know so much differences then, because the farthest I had gone was down south. So I queued, and when I got to the booth, the lady on the other side looked at me and said, "What were you doing on the queue? Because you're supposed to be on the other side." I didn't know. So even in ignorance, and I didn't feel bad. While I was queuing to be cleared, I didn't feel bad. So even if it's legal, even if it's allowed, and I want Anto to stop bashing politicians continuously, because he is not different. Our politicians are a representative of who we are.
I am so happy I'm in the middle.
Can I finish this point?
We are broke.
I need to finish this.
Okay, let him finish.
You sing for those guys. You sing for them. You justify. You mobilize for them.
So the other question is, if you would have known that you have that privilege, would you have queued?
I'm just asking, Trevor, if you were the one who was given the bypass in the bank, would you have said no? So, but I want to get back to Anto. I want to get back to Anto and say this, that the politicians we have are a representative sample of who we are as a people.
Question.
The leaders of our people, democracy is like milk. The best in milk is the cream. It comes on top. So if our leaders are corrupt, we might not be corrupt, but we are corruptible. Anto, today your friends are in parliament. Are they any different? Were they behaving differently while they were still in the industry where you are? They have carried their bad manners from the industry to parliament.
I will revert.
So can we balance this thing and just say it is bad manners? Let us see when it works out and when it's applicable and when it's not.
Let Phyllis take a...
I will actually just revert to where we started, where I asked you, as a celebrity, as a public figure, have you defined your target audience? And if you have, what responsibility do you have? What are you delivering? As you said, your role models. What are you inspiring? Are you inspiring a child to say, I want to be a musician? Fine. So far, so good. Why? Because I can get away with stuff. I mean, can you imagine how sad that would be if that was a child's response? Again, back to the politicians. What do you want to be? An MP. Why? Because they have a lot of money and they drive big cars. What narrative are you giving out there so that now you can even balance the system again? As he said, it's a ripple effect. What comes out comes in.
It comes back to, personal responsibility. And to speak on Arnold's point on, when talking about that rich businessman in the hood who's really well known for having the best parties, or your grandfather who is this legend at home, who to many people is a celebrity, or to this Mau guy who still is alive and everybody views him as a celebrity. Personal responsibility. And I think when we now talk about the society, and especially when it comes to children, because children consume a lot on social media, on TV, when they watch us speak, how we behave. And it's for every person to remember that a lot of children do look up to them, and we are all celebrities to someone in some way, based on the hero villain. So it's upon me to say that I'm a kid from Kawangware, and that I've made it this far, and I can be here at Citizen. What does a kid in Kawangware feel when they see me? And I always tell people, and in fact, even the producer on this show produced me when I was doing a teen show. I've never had a normal teenage life. Never. My first TV show was on sexual reproductive health, from Sugar to Siri that was on this station to me being here, which means that as Anto, I cannot be out there misbehaving. I can't be seen in a club dancing, yet I am an artist. I can't be seen doing those things because already my life was put on the spotlight from way long time before. So personal responsibility. When people hear my name, what do they feel? That for me is the bottom line.
Wow, we need to take a break and hold that thought.
We are paying bills here.
We have to pay bills, yes. We have to pay them bills. But before we take that break, we want to take a look at feedback. Let's see some of the tweets that are coming up.
All right.
Trevor.
Polo Kelo says, but the last time Anyang' Nyong'o, who's the Kisumu governor, went shopping alone and lined up at a supermarket to pay his bill, he was called a miser. Okay. All right.
Society.
Society perception is also quite interesting there.
Irene, you say, unfortunately, in a country that claims to be a democracy, we have a jungle justice system where survival is for the richest. Even suspected criminals don't have the luxury of going through it. They are killed before they get there. All right.
Systems.
Yep. System breakdown. We have a final one here from Melvin Omondi. It says a practical way to look at it is this: a third world economy that is well on its way to middle income status. A little flamboyance never devoured any stumbling block. What we need to be celebrated are solutions, not the problem and its causes.